Hey folks, this is Vinayak Mathur from VM Graphics Solutions. Today I'll be showing you a new exciting tutorial on how to create grid effect in After Effects. So let's see what we are going to make. So this tutorial would be an integration of three softwares, that is Adobe After Effects, Adobe Premiere Pro and Adobe Bridge. So to design this, let's jump into Adobe After Effects. So this is the one I already created with some optical flares and camera movement in a 3D space, and this one is just the grid, evolution of growth of the grid. So let's get started. First we'll create a new composition. I'll name it as grid, 1920 by 1080 pixel, 29.97 frames per second, looks good, and okay. So first of all, I'll create a background layer, that is create new solid, and I'll name this as BG, and I'll change the layer color to I guess peach and lock this. I don't want to use this right now. Then I'll go to new solid, and I'll name this as grid. So now to create this grid effect, I already have here advanced, or I'll use the effect advanced lightning. So in your effects and presets, search for advanced, sorry, and you have this advanced lightning. Just drag and drop on the grid layer and you have some lightning effects. So today I'll be showing you how to create a grid. So in the lightning type, I'll go and select bouncy. So this gives a pretty much more dense look. So for start, I'll reduce the glow almost to 0, or the least value, that is 1. Glow opacity also to 0, so that only the white colored grid lines which we see. And then I'll drag this one to somewhere like this point, just for my convenience. You can start from wherever you want. So right now this is pretty complex to even, actually it's not what we are looking for. We are looking for somewhat like this complexity that we can see through it. So over here I'll go to expert settings, reduce the complexity to I guess 1. No, I would say 2. Okay, and now I'll increase the turbulence to the maximum value, which is 10. So directly type in 10, that's it. So now if you move this, you can actually see what we are wanting, starting to look like similar grid or circuit. So we can play with decay, which I'll get back in the moment. And before that, I will like to go to the forking. Where is it? Yeah. So I can increase the amount of forks, which again is not necessary, at least for what I made. You can feel free to play with these settings. So for me, I'll just reduce this to about 20%, I guess. 20 looks good for me. Then I'll change the position just for making it look cool. And then minimum fork distance as per your requirement. Fork strength, just makes it much more opaque and dull, whichever side you go. For me, I guess 50 to 60% sounds good. I'll right now go with 81% for this particular scenario right now. Folk variation, I'll go somewhere around 70%, I guess. Alright, 71 looks good. So now we have a starting grid. So what I like to do is I'll want to cut this extra length. So how can I do that? I can create increase the decay and it will shrink from all sides. And if I go to decay main code, this would create some different types of circuits if in case you're looking for that. And actually this one right here is also looking cool. So let's reduce forking a bit, fork strength a bit, somewhat around 56%, and then I'll select this layer, scale it down a bit, place it over here, and I'll start animating this decay. So in the start I'll go from maximum value, and then I suppose for the next 24 seconds I guess I'll make it to reduce to 0.3 I guess. No, that's too small. Oh sorry, even smaller than that. I get this would look good right here. No, for me this one is good enough. Now what will I do is just click here, duplicate this layer. You can press Ctrl D on your keypad or Command D on Macintosh, and then just place it according your liking. Like I would connect it over here and start make it to grow from that point. Alright, and now this gives a new look. So I'll go to this keyframes, I'll select all these, I'll push it over here. Or the other way could be you can just offset this and the timings would automatically change. Personal preferences, as I said, I would like to do it this way. And starting, I would say actually I'll place this over here at this point and then make it to grow. So this might be my start point and this might be my end, and I guess this looks good for me right now. Again, these are all based on your personal preferences. Just feel free to play with these settings. You can then again come here and change the fork distance, etc. to give it a more random look, or even you can come over here and click on this conductivity states. It would give you much more random circuits. For now in this one I'll just come back and increase some forking. No, I'll reduce some forking because this might give me much more denser look. Alright, so I'm done with this one. I'll again duplicate this layer, change the position. I guess this looks good over here, and I'll change the conductivity state to 1, or actually this one. So I'll go to 1.4, connect these lines right over here, and now check the or offset the keyframes, click and drag across them until they get blue, and then just bring in on the timeline like this. At this point I want this to be like this small, and over here I want it to grow real big like this, and I want the forking to reduce. Just play with these settings until you get something which you like. I guess this would be okay. Slight variations would just give you better randomness. And yeah, I would like, if your adaptive resolution preview for the software is pretty slow or laggy and you have an external or a separate dedicated graphics card like I have, 4 GB NVIDIA GeForce GTX 860M, I can give you a trick that you might use and improve the performance. Go to Edit, Preferences, General, and this might be slow because I have a couple of more applications running in the background. And over here, go to Preview and GPU information. This would be by default. This would be disabled, and you only have CPU. This would be the standard look which you might have on your computer, and this memory would be dependent or respective to the machine you are using. So if you have an external or a dedicated graphics card, just enable this. Don't worry about this, it's just to warn you. And click on the GPU and increase the memory according to the amount of graphic card you have, and then you're good to go. Click on OK, and you'll see it's comparatively faster because it's now using your graphic card to preview this, not your RAM or the CPU. So now all you have to do is just duplicate these layers, change their position as per your liking, create a grid network or whatever case you want, as I did over here in my previous or the preview I showed you in the beginning. I have about, I guess, 8 of them in the full animation. And so I'll not go through creating all of them right now because I don't want this video to get about 40 minutes long. So this is pretty much all the things you require to create a grid effect. You can just duplicate and play with the settings to create a much more complex or a simpler look as you want. Now I'll show you some of the different things like I had put over here. So let's create a new solid. I'll say this as maybe starburst, and in the effects go to CC starburst. Probably you won't even know this exists, but this is a very cool plugin, pre-installed in After Effects. It's not a third-party plugin. So just click on this, just reduce it to 0, speed also to 0. Now you see there are dots over here, so I can increase the size and reduce the grid spacing or increase it according to my choice. It would just create dots over the text like this. Then I would go to curves, and I'm exactly ray tracing all the things I did over here to just give you the exact same look. You can feel free to play with the settings, add more plugins, or choose to delete one of these which I use. It's completely on your personal preference. I'm again saying that. So I'll go to Effect, Channel, Solid Composite right over here. Click this to black. Okay. And blending mode to screen. or I guess add, if I'm not going wrong somewhere. I'll just keep the blending mode to normal right now and add curves, and first we create this 3D layers, all these, and change all these to screen. Sorry, click on one layer and press shift to select all the layers in between, toggle switches and create these to be screen, and this one also to be screen right over here. Now you can see these dots, and this could also be done from over here. I don't know why did this not work, but anyway. And now I will like to go to make it much more colored or brightened up, so I'll go over here and select curves. You can also use levels, and so for the tutorial I'll just crank the brightness using curves right over here. And this might not give you drastic changes, but they definitely work. This looks good. And now I'll just show you one more effect. Create one new solid and say mosaic and click enter. Again change the mode to, or I'll just keep it right here, and go to effects, search for mosaic, and here you go. Just drag it over this layer, and there are a bunch of different things, or actually not, I'll not use this. I'll just go with edges, and actually I just picked the wrong mosaic. This was the one I had to use, that's why this got cranked up. So I'll first create this screen, and now I'll create bigger blocks. You won't see any changes right now, just then go for transform, put this above this there, and no, actually no, I'll not use this. I'll not use mosaic. I prefer to go without mosaic because that would make the video, I guess, at least 1.5 times much more longer. So for now, just offset these layers a bit. And check these to actually work. Once you get these to be satisfied as per your requirements, you can either color these grids right over here, or when we animate it into the basic intro. If you want to do it right over here, just go to new adjustment layer and then go to effect, color correction, curves. I'll want the blue channel to go up. Green also to be, I'll give this a greenish tint. I don't want red, I'll just throw that back, and this looks to be quite effective. So you're ready to use this in the background. This is the exact grid effect which I wanted you to show. So now before you put this into the intro, I would give you a recommendation or a tip. Just select the moment at which this gets completed and pre-render it into a QuickTime movie, You can do it by going to composition, add to render queue, or press Ctrl M or Command M on Macintosh. Right over here, this output module, click on lossless, go to format, QuickTime movie, QuickTime, and that's it. Click on OK, choose the destination, name of the file, and click save and render it. As I already have a rendered copy, I'll just use that. So for now, I'll create a new composition and name this as intro tutorial. Yeah, and if you see an error like this one, like the one which came up, that means your caps lock is on. Just hit it back. So right over here, I'll bring the pre-rendered copy. I might copied as this one, so I'll just bring this one right over here, and this is what is the composition. This is what I already built and pre-rendered. So now I can just use this as the background and create my text over this, and I'll say VM graphics solution, and I'll choose a font which I'll say Orbit font. Orbit font. I'll choose this font, and I'll pick the color from here, this one. And to make this stand out, I'll put some curves. Again, curves are my favorite plugin. I use it a lot. I'll give this a bit more bluish tint, more green, actually less green, and this time I'll try to increase the amount of red to, I guess, this much. And now I'll take this grid composition or the pre-rendered copy and duplicate it about, I guess, 3 times, and press shift and select all these and transfer their modes to screen. And now create all of them as 3D layers. Now just open position of all of them, and the last, there are 3 positions, the X, Y and Z. This is the X, Y and Z. Just push them back in the Z space in a symmetrical order. Like, you should actually feel the complexity. If you feel this is much more cluttered, what you can do is just hit on T to bring down the opacity, and just reduce the opacity like this. And this is what I actually had got over here. So I had created a different kind of grid, and if you see it from top view, you can see there are multiple copies of the same grid line and one with the text. You can place them according to your choice and add a 3D camera if you want to give it a 3D look. For now, I'll just use only one layer for the tutorial purpose, because that would make the tutorial much more longer. As the purpose of this tutorial was to tell you how to create the grid that I already showed you, now I just want you to know how you can use it. There are multiple ways. I cannot go to all of them, so I'll try to show the one which takes the least time. and the one I use in the intro of my upcoming project, I'll definitely create one more tutorial for you. So right now I'll just drag it to the center, I guess over here, and push this back in Z space and scale it to fit the composition. And now if you create a new camera right over here, settings are okay, and show you click on this enable depth of field and click OK. So now what you can do is right over here, go and orbit camera tool, then in camera go to transform and position, set the keyframe. I guess if you want it from starting, just put it on starting, and then just move this according to your choice. I'm sorry, I didn't create a 3D text layer, so just click on this 3D, and now you have everything moving alongside. But the problem is my keyframes for the grid composition are starting somewhere over here, so you'll see the growth at this point. So I'll just, to show you for the tutorial purpose, I'll just drag this keyframe from here to here, and then just change the perspective, and you'll get the similar look which I had in the intro. To make it look much more cooler, you can play with the settings like the camera direction from which angle you want to see. You can add blur to these. You can do that by selecting the grid, going over to effect, blur and sharpen. There are multiple blur. Just play with the settings and try which one fits your desire. And that's it for creating the design. I'll just bring that to the start like this. No, to this one, that looks a bit more. So anyway, just hide this right now. And the next thing I want to add is an optical flare, which I added in my intro. And click on solid. I'll say OF for optical flares. Click OK. So I'll be using a third-party plugin from Video Copilot, optical flares. This is a pretty good or professional level plugin. I'll definitely recommend it. You can go to videocopilot.net and purchase this. Okay, so coming back to the tutorial, you can come over here to options, and this will open up a user in a program, and you can choose from different presets which optical flares suits you the most. I'll go with motion graphics, and I'll select, I guess, this one. You can hide anything which you want because all of these are separate layers, so it's your desire what you want to hide or what you want to show. So just feel free to play with these settings. I guess this looks cool for me, so I'll hit OK, and I'll click source type to be 3D, and I'll create I'll make this multiply. No, I'll make it only tint. Review background. No. So coming back over here again, toggle switch modes, screen, and now you see it will move with your 3D camera. I guess it should move. And if it does not move, what you can do is just bring down the position, and over here click alt position. I don't know if this works, but you can definitely try this. So I'll resize this a bit to see the, and now this click on this and drag it over all the way down until you reach this and click on position. So now what you will get is it will use the position of the camera to animate its own position. So if I just zoom out and just move across my animation, what you'll see is the optical flares would move. Just wait for the keyframes to come and the animation to start. Or actually just directly go to the keyframes. This might get a lot time taking, or so we went far away. If I play it from this point, and you can see the position of the optical flare changes as if it was being dragged at some 3D space. So you can play around with these settings and choose the one which suits you the best. And that's it. This is all which I would like to show you for the tutorial of creating how to make the grid and somewhat how to use it in your intros. And alright, so as I said, I'll also show you how to add sound effects. Okay, so for that I'll first close all these, and let me tell you, this is my final output which I got rendered by same settings like Control M. You'll get in these render queue. Same setting, go to lossless, QuickTime, and format options, go to H.264. Right over here, H.264, and choose your quality, and then click OK, and then OK. Again, save your name and the location of the file and hit render. Once you do that, I got this QuickTime movie which does not include any audio, it's just the animation. And by then I'll close After Effects. It should not use my computing power, it will just slow my work down. So this is pretty slow. QuickTime movie player on Windows is pretty slow. Alright, so yes. Alright, so I have got this open. So if I play this, there's no audio in this, it's just plain animation. So what I will do is I'll go into Adobe Premiere Pro and just import it, or I'll show it from the starting. Just let me go to and create a new composition or its sequence in Premiere. So I'll go and select a new project, and no, I don't want to save these changes. Alright, so this would be the screen which you would get when you start Adobe Premiere Pro. Name your project, choose the capture format, and rest of the settings, and yeah, obviously the location where you want this to be saved, and click OK. Now the second dialog box which appears would ask you for the settings of your sequence, and preferably it didn't ask me this time. Maybe it just took it from the previous project. Anyways, so this is our library as we had in After Effects. Just double click and you'll see an import dialog box. Select your file, click OK, and now I'll create an instance by dragging it over here and creating a timeline for this. I can just scroll by pulling this down and sliding this inwards, so I get a zoomed in position, and this is my timeline as in After Effects. V represents for video, A represents for audio. So now let's bring in some audio. I'll go to Bridge, and Bridge is a pretty good software to just search or browse through all your presets or anything which you have. Like I have this motion pulse black box plugins, or you can say sound effects, which I had got from videocopilot.net. There are a couple of different sounds which you can go to. I'll just come back. I don't want to search a lot and make this video a hell lot longer. So I'll just click on any one of these, and you can actually review it once it loads. So once you get the desired audio, like I'll just, for the tutorial sake, I'll just add one of them, which is I guess WAV _03.wab, if I know the name. No, that's not the one. Anyway, so I'll just randomly select any one of these, resize this, click on the audio, drag it in Premiere, and there you go. Oh, where the hell did that go? Sorry. Again, just drag it over into Premiere, and here's your audio. Oh, I already had got stupid of me. So anyway, I'll just drag it in audio 1 over here, and when you play this, you'll have the audio in the background. To just play with the settings, or to just mark it as, wait, let me show you. Just drag your video into, and by the way, if you want to just drag it over here until the sound effect starts, I guess this would be the starting point, and now hit spacebar to preview, and that's it. You now just have to be sure which part of the audio you want actually. That's it. Like I just want these middle waveforms in the video clip. So hit spacebar and you're done. If you feel the audio is too loud, just click on the audio, come over here, audio clip mixer. If you can't find this, go to window, and this would be the audio clip mixer. Anyway, so as we can see, this is audio 1. So on audio 1 mixer, just pull this down to reduce the volume, and pull this up to increase the volume as per your need. I'll reduce this over till this point so that it does not get too much loud. And if I just bring this back and show you the difference, so this is comparatively less loud. So now we have added the audio. Now to get the final rendered output as MP4 format, go to File, Export, Media. The same shortcut, Control M. You will see this dialog box. The settings which Adobe Premiere chooses is perfectly fine until and unless you want it into a different format. Or else, if you can't find H.264 over here, just click on this and select it from the drop down menu, and rest of the settings let it be the same. Yeah, if the video, as you can see over here, in the start it's black, and from about this point the video starts, this point the video ends, and then again this is black. So to just render the video with audio, I'll just bring these markers till the point I want it to get rendered like over here, and starting I want somewhere around this. So I'll put this marker over here and then export. Once you export, you'll get the final rendered output. Sorry for this. Final rendered output as this, which we already have with an audio. So that's it for today. Hope you liked this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button below this, and for any query or any kind of reviews,